The Oscars, the greatest night in television. A night of movies, a night of celebrities, a night of awards, a night of celebrities hitting each other before winning awards. No, there's nothing quite like it. But wait, there's a problem. You're a Wahlert Catholic student and you have a life. You've got grades to keep track of. You got friends to meet up with. You've got ladies to flirt with by the lockers while you're waiting for Brother Guy to unlock his door. You don't have the time nor the emotional wherewithal to sit through an almost 2-hour-long movie about, say, women talking or the horrors of war. I mean, you could, but wouldn't you rather just go see Plane? Enter me, Josh Chapman, Wallert's resident reviewer and movie connoisseur. I have sacrificed my personal and educational life watching every Oscar-nominated Best Picture to bring you, the people of Wahlert Catholic, an in-depth, incredibly subjective review and recommendation of all the Oscar-nominated movies. With each movie that is nominated for Best Picture, I'm going to give my summary and thoughts, my overall rating of the film on a 5-star scale, and then, just because it's Wahlert Catholic High School, would I watch with my parish priest? All Quiet on the Western Front is this dirty, gory, anxiety-inducing film. And in a lot of ways, it isn't doing anything different from the past 20 war films we've gotten in the last 3 years, or the 1,000,001 war films that have always been around. And I've seen a few war movies. Like, I saw both Fury and The Hurt Locker when I was like 7, and only God knows how that has affected my mental and emotional development. There's this quote or idea most commonly attributed to French film director Francois Truffaut, where the filmmaker says, there's no such thing as an anti-war film. This is because war movies will inevitably end up glorifying the horror of war as thrilling adventure that builds camaraderie among soldiers. I think in terms of staying away from glorifying war, this movie is incredibly successful in its aforementioned gore. I think the movie does still have that camaraderie aspect, but spoiler, it doesn't work out for the pals too much, which is like the point, right? Like, war for most people in World War I, if not, dare I say, all, was not a big sleepover where you told all your friends your biggest secrets, like who you have a crush on back home. No, it's war. It's gross, and the people who started are gross, and this movie hits that home, and I have been thinking about it ever since I saw it. I give this movie 4.5 stars. It's incredibly well made. Would I watch with my parish priest? Yeah. Like, I think maybe. Yeah, I mean, it's, like I said, super violent and probably the most upsetting movie on this list. But if you cover his eyes when it gets scary, I think you'll make it through it okay. Avatar: Way of Water is a movie about a giant corporation and one of Hollywood's grumpiest directors cramming millions of dollars in a computer to program it to take your money in 3.5 hours of your life, all while convincing you that you have just watched a movie that was a metaphor for imperialism and environmentalism. Sorry, I think I came on too strong. Avatar: Way of Water looks amazing, because of course it does. It costs $250 million. Avatar is a well-made movie. I cannot deny that. It is stunning. The soundtrack is great. Its acting is probably good. I mean, there aren't really any humans in it except for this one teenager with dreadlocks that looks like he belongs more in a 90s anti-drug commercial and acts like it too. My problem with this movie is nothing really feels like it matters till it does. We're introduced to a lot of new characters very quickly, and I only really feel like I got to know, like, 2 of them. Like, there's this character that dies towards the end of the movie, and we had spent very little time with them. Like, I knew their name, and no, that was it. And then I'm supposed to care about when they die? No, you can't just generate an image of Zoe Saldana as a blue cat person crying and expect me to care. And I hadn't seen the last Avatar movie since the 5th grade when Matthew Nachman lent me his DVD copy. So I didn't really care about the old characters either, nor anything about Pandora. I just didn't care. 2 stars. Does it deserve it? No, but that's how much I hated it. And screw you, Lila. Lila Takis was complaining to me about how I didn't like Avatar and how it was secretly good. But you know, what does she know? Is she Wallert's resident reviewer? No, that's me. I'm that. Would I watch with my parish priest? No, but only because I don't want to watch a movie longer than 2 hours with my priest. The Banshees of Inisherin is a dark comedy that takes place during the Irish Civil War and is about 2 best friends who are fighting, or as they would say in Ireland, having a wee bit of a row. That's what they would say in Ireland. In complete contrast to everything I said about Avatar, I love this movie. I've seen it twice now, and every time I think about it, it just makes me happy. And I think the more left unsaid, the better with this movie. What's important to keep in mind is that it's Irish, its humor is dry and dark, and it's not Avatar 2. So if you're watching this movie and you don't think you like it, keep watching it, you're wrong. 5 stars. Would I watch this with my parish priest? Yeah, I think he'd enjoy it. For starters, everyone in the film is Irish and Catholic. There's some dark things that happen, but nothing darker than what would go on in probably the Old Testament. Also, there's this sassy priest character, and who doesn't love a sassy priest? Elvis is a Vivo music video disguised as an Elvis Presley biopic. Now, disclaimer, the movie is written and directed by Baz Luhrmann, who is a man that for some reason a lot of Hollywood respects, but I personally do not care for. Everything about this movie feels distracted. This is an Elvis biopic, right? So that would infer that it's kind of a character study of the man. Yet for the majority of this movie, I don't feel like we get any time with Elvis, which is the whole point. Elvis was this revolutionary icon, you know? He invented swinging your hips and singing dirty, or at least stealing swinging your hips and singing dirty from more talented black musicians. But the movie's main focus is to cover as much ground with Elvis's life as possible, and because of that, I lose a lot of time with the character, and I lose a lot of emotional stake in what he's doing and how that impacted the world around him and the people around him. Also, Tom Hanks is hilariously bad in this. Like just awful. But Austin Butler is good. Very good performance from Austin Butler. 2 stars. Would I watch with my parish priest? I guess. I don't really care, man. It's fine. Like, there are a few scenes, you know, a few drug scenes. But that's Elvis. This movie is about a lot of things. It's about interdimensional travel. It's about family relationships. It's about people with hot dog fingers. Everything Everywhere All at Once is a movie that sticks with you. It is so undeniably creative in its execution. There are parts of this movie that feel messy, but the argument could be made that it's supposed to be like that. Like it's a part of the charm. The performances are really great. There's this monologue from the supporting actor Ke Huy Quan in the climax of the movie that it just breaks your heart. Also, arguably the best scene in the entire movie is a dialogue between 2 rocks with googly eyes, and it's like one of the best scenes in movies ever. Okay, maybe I'm exaggerating, but it's a great movie and you should watch it. 5 stars. Would I watch with my parish priest? No, definitely not. There's this scene in the movie where the character tries to put to get better fighting abilities, which I don't think he'd be very into. Just a personal thought. The Fabelmans is the newest film by legendary director Steven Spielberg. The movie works as an autobiography of Spielberg's childhood and how great of a director he always was. It's tacky, it's silly, it's a little awkward. There are a lot of great actors in this movie. Paul Dano plays Steven Spielberg's dad. I love Paul Dano. I think he's one of the best actors we have. But his performance in this movie is a little weird. Everyone's performance is a little weird. From what I can remember about this movie, the dialogue is believable, the story is believable at times, but there are just really weird moments where people don't say words the way that a human being would say those words. You know, like a living person and like how they talk. I don't know if Spielberg does. But that's okay because it's still a really beautiful coming-of-age movie about the relentless pursuit of your dreams. And the last scene in the movie is one of my favorites of the Oscars season. 4 stars. Would I watch with my parish priest? There's this weird scene involving Jesus that I don't know if he would like very much, so I'm going to say no. Tar is a movie about celebrities who suck at being human beings and why your heroes will inevitably let you down. Lydia Tarr, the main character of this movie, who is played by Cate Blanchett, is one of the world's most famous composers, as well as one of the world's most garbage people, as well as one of the greatest comedic performances of an actor since the time Jim Carrey played that weird guy. You know that movie where Jim Carrey's weird? That's all of his movies? Yeah, one of those. I don't know what was going on in my brain while I was watching this movie, but there was something about the everything about it that just worked for me. It's just so much movie about something I didn't realize that I cared about. It works in the first half to create this world and teach you about subject matter the characters are involved in, as well as who they are and how they interact with each other. The movie takes its time to let this all fold out naturally, and then, boom! Well, I don't want to say what happens, but like, holy wow. Also, Cate Blanchett is amazing in this movie and deserves like every Oscar. 5 stars. Would I watch with my parish priest? No. This movie has some weirdly dark things happening in it, and some incredibly immoral people. Well, one immoral person. The whole character of Lydia Tarr is gross and misleading and does a bunch of stuff I don't think you'd be into. Are we done? How many more movies do we have? 3? Okay, let's get the stinkers out of the way. These next 2 I'm going to zoom through because one of them everyone's seen, and the other one nobody has seen and nobody needs to see. And both of them, I don't really understand why they were nominated for Best Picture, so I'm just going to put them together. Other than that, they are not similar in any way. You know, I'm as anti-American as the next piece of hipster socialist scum you'll find working at every coffee shop. But if there was a bar graph for my feeling of patriotism for the United States, it would be a stagnant line at 0 for my entire life, with one jump to 100% for the 2.5 hours I was watching this movie. Maybe it was all of those shirtless men jumping around on the beach. I don't know. It's a 3.5-star movie. Good. Nothing super special for me. Would I watch with my parish priest? Yeah, he'd go crazy for this, just as any normal American probably would. We've gotten what feels like about 200 Rich People Are Bad movies this year. And this is the only one that got Oscar attention, which is too bad because Glass Onion was way better than this movie. The movie is cut into 3 different parts, and each part feels like 3 different movies that feature characters that I can't get attached to because they're all rich and mean, which sucks because those are the 2 features I hate in characters, unless if you're Batman. It's a 3-star movie. I didn't like it very much. It was well made. It didn't work for me. Would I watch with my parish priest? No, for reasons I really don't want to get into. This movie should have been a play, and should be a play. The movie centers around a select group of women who are discussing whether or not they should leave their isolated religious colony after some unfortunate circumstances happen between them and the men of the colony. And let's be clear, unfortunate circumstances is the understatement of the century. Women talking is a slow burn, and it's a lot of women talking, which personally I enjoyed. I love it when women talk. Personally, I'd love it if women talked more in films. Seriously though, this movie gets you. It's a very dark subject matter, yes, but every performance is killer. It's 4 stars. Would I watch with my parish priest? Yeah, it's dark, and it's honestly pretty critical of religion and patriarchal leaders, but it's also important to hear these kinds of stories so that they don't happen again. Okay, so we got through all the movies. Boy, did we have fun while we were doing it. Or maybe we didn't. I don't really know. Did we? Now, the real question is, out of all these movies, all these very long, sometimes strenuous, terrible movies, sometimes amazing movies, who's going to get the big golden man? I'm putting my money on The Fabelmans. I know, but hear me out. There are undoubtedly better movies. And that's not what Best Picture is about. That's never been what it's about. I mean, look at last year. The winner for Best Picture was Coda. No offense, Coda, but what is Coda? Like, really, I haven't seen it. But The Power of the Dog was super good. Like, crazy good. Does anyone know what I'm talking about? The point I'm trying to make is that the Oscars have a formula for Best Pictures. I think. Disclaimer, at this point, I really don't know what I'm talking about, and this is all basically just my Oscar conspiracy theory. A Best Picture has a select few categories that Best Pictures often fall into these days. Often it's a safe movie. It's a movie about movies. It's race-based and or racial discrimination is a plot point in the movie, and it doesn't hurt to be coming of age. Fabelmans has all of these things. My money's on Fabelmans, and I really hope I win because I put a lot of money on it, and if I don't, I'm in serious trouble. But what about what I think deserves Best Picture? I know everyone's asking that. What does this 17-year-old who has never made a movie in his life think deserves Best Picture over all of the critics and the businesses that have dedicated their life to knowing this stuff? What does Josh think? What does Josh Chapman, resident reviewer of Wahlert Catholic High School in Dubuque, Iowa, think about this? I think Everything Everywhere All at Once deserves the win. It's definitely the most creative. It's definitely the funniest. It's one of the most heartfelt of the noms this year. Plus, you have a stellar cast, and I'm not sure how much weight I should be putting on this, but also a cast with a representation that if this movie were to win Best Picture, I'm sure would mean a lot to the people represented in the film. That's my Oscar prediction. I hope you enjoyed. If not, I totally understand. I am just a teenager who watched movies. I don't make them. Thanks.